Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission is always to deliver the core of knowledge from a stack of sources, giving you that critical analysis you need to see the entire field.
Yeah.
But today, the feeling is just different. The mission is singular, and the urgency it's immense.
Oh, absolutely.
We're not talking about hypotheticals or, future builds anymore. We're discussing the real-time foundation of a championship contender. The entire NFL is watching Chicago right now.
It absolutely is. And you have to understand, this isn't just about an ordinary playoff game. This is a moment of cultural clash. And it's playing out on the most unforgiving stage in football. Soldier Field.
In January.
In January. You have the ultimate demonstration of Midwest toughness, of grit, of just the unforgiving nature of that environment, going head-to-head with the sun-drenched finesse and speed of the Los Angeles Rams.
Right.
The stakes are monumental. And what we are witnessing this week, the decisions being made, the strategies, this is the blueprint for the next decade of this franchise.
That sets the perfect analytical tone, because that's our job today. We need to connect this immediate white-hot pressure of a divisional round playoff game to the sustainable long-term future of this team. And we've extracted 3 truly explosive, interconnected stories that I think define this exact moment for the Bears.
These 3 pillars, they explain precisely why this improbable run, it's a stunning jump after that 5-win season last year,
A huge jump.
is not just luck. It's the result of focused strategy, of cultural resilience, and frankly, brilliant foresight from Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson.
Exactly. Our deep dive is built around those 3 pillars. So first, we're going to unpack Ben Johnson's really sophisticated, multi-layered weather warfare. We'll analyze how he is actively weaponizing the Chicago winter.
He's not just playing in it, he's weaponizing it.
He's treating Soldier Field less like a venue and more like an environmental hazard tailored specifically for the Rams. Then second, we'll dissect Ryan Poles' roster masterclass in navigating catastrophic late-season injuries by signing Nephi Sewell.
The family business.
Turning a crisis into a display of cultural resilience. The true family business mentality. And finally,
we look ahead. We have to look at the draft, using the advanced analytics to identify the precise player who is the long-term solution to the team's most glaring weakness.
Taven McDonald.
The defensive tackle out of Ohio State. We'll show you why his specific skill set, and it's backed by a stunning PFF grade, is the non-negotiable fix for this defense for the next 10 years.
These are the defining decisions. The immediate strategy, the midseason resilience, and the long-term vision. They will undeniably shape the next decade of Bears football.
Oh, yeah.
We have to give this the depth it deserves.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start right here, right now. The divisional round matchup, and the most critical variable that is, it's utterly unique to Chicago in January.
The climate.
The climate. And we have to frame this by going back to the beginning of the week. Matthew Stafford, the Rams' veteran QB, he goes on Sirius XM.
Right, on the Let's Go show.
And he projects maximum confidence. He says he's excited to play in the brutal cold of Chicago.
Of course he did.
And that is classic expert quarterback bravado, right? It's a PR move. It's designed to mitigate the psychological impact before his team even steps off the plane.
It's more than just bravado, though. It's a preemptive psychological defense mechanism. He's trying to convince himself, his teammates, the fans, everyone, that the weather won't be a factor.
But Ben Johnson saw that comment.
Oh, he saw it. And he saw it not as confidence, but as a direct challenge, an opening he could exploit.
Yeah.
And remember, Johnson spent years coordinating in Detroit. He understands the unique severity of Midwest football in January. He saw the trap Stafford was setting and just immediately sprung at shit with his response.
And that response was surgical. It was so precise. It wasn't just a casual shrug about the weather.
Yeah.
It was a clear declaration of intent. He delivered this calculated knockout quote. First, he says, "I like the cold," which kind of sets the bait.
Right.
But then he lands the blow. "I know this will be the coldest game the Rams have played this season." That's something I recognized the moment we knew who the opponent was.
And that's the key phrase right there, that specific phrase, the moment we knew who the opponent was. That's the analysis. Johnson isn't just reacting to a forecast. He is publicly confirming that the climate is now an intentional, premeditated strategy.
A part of the game plan.
It's part of the game plan. He's telling the world, and specifically the Rams coaching staff, I've been preparing to use this environmental advantage since the second your wildcard game ended. He's banking on the fact that a team from LA, a team whose recent schedule has been entirely warm weather or domes, is fundamentally unprepared, physically and psychologically.
We have to back that up with the cold, brutal data.
Yeah.
Because the numbers are the weapon here. AccuWeather is projecting single-digit real field temperatures.
Single digits.
Single-digit real field when this game kicks off at 6:30 p.m. local time. We're not talking about a nice 30 degrees with a light snow.
No, this isn't picturesque football weather. This is punishment.
We're talking single digits,
Yeah.
with wind chills probably pushing well below zero because of where Soldier Field is, right on the lake.
And let's put that in context for the Rams. Just look at their schedule since, early November?
Okay, I have it here. San Francisco, Carolina twice, Arizona, Seattle, and Atlanta.
Right. Not a single one of those locations offers even a remote simulation of the biting severe cold and the raw wind they're about to face in Chicago. Even Seattle.
People will say Seattle is a northern climate.
It is, but it's a temperate coastal environment. It's mild compared to the Midwest interior in the dead of winter. It's not even in the same ballpark.
You just can't simulate that kind of cold exposure effectively. You can practice in 40 degrees all you want.
Sure.
But when that real feel hits single digits, the conditions fundamentally change everything. Your fingers stop working right. The football itself, the equipment, it changes its physical properties.
It becomes a rock.
It becomes a rock. The simple act of breathing becomes painful because the air is so dry and cold. This is where that physical reality check becomes a psychological hammer for the Rams.
And now we have to connect it. Connect that single-digit cold directly to the critical physical vulnerability we know exists for the Rams.
Matthew Stafford's index finger.
His banged-up index finger. We know he's managing an injury there. Now think about the biomechanics of throwing a football. The index finger is the last point of contact.
It's everything. It generates the spiral, it provides the velocity, controls the accuracy.
And what does sub-zero temperature do to that specific mechanism?
It's devastating.
It's devastating. First, it constricts the blood flow. That increases localized pain and dramatically decreases dexterity, nerve sensitivity in the finger.
And then there's the ball itself.
Right. The football hardens, it loses its pliable nature, feels like a brick. So now Stafford has to generate the necessary grip and spin on a rock-hard, freezing leather sphere.
While using a compromised, probably numb index finger.
And fighting blood flow restriction. The margin for error just shrinks to nothing. The chance of errant throws, wobbly spirals, and crucially turnovers goes through the roof. And you know Ben Johnson is fully aware of this mechanical breakdown.
This is truly playing chess while they're playing checkers. Johnson isn't just hoping for cold weather. He is planting the psychological seed that the Rams are unprepared, that they simply don't belong in this harsh environment.
An environment that is now explicitly designed to exploit their veteran quarterback's known injury.
He's actively undermining Stafford's confidence from the outside in. And Johnson even confirmed their counter strategy, right? He cited his institutional knowledge from Detroit.
He did. He said, when I was in Detroit, we practiced outside from the start, and it's usually cold this time of year anyway, so you could get used to it as much as possible.
That's the core difference right there. The Bears are acclimatized.
Yes.
They've been practicing outside at Hellas Hall. They've been enduring these exact conditions for weeks. For the Bears defense, this cold is just another Tuesday practice.
It's business as usual. They have full mental clarity. They're focused on execution. The Rams, though, they are forced into constant mental recalibration.
They're worrying about hand warmers.
Trying different gloves, fighting for circulation, thinking about all these peripheral elements of just survival rather than pure football. The message Johnson is successfully embedding is inescapable. This is Chicago in January. This is what we do. You don't.
But you could argue, couldn't you, that the cold is just a circumstance? Isn't giving Johnson credit for using the cold maybe just cheap hype? I mean, shouldn't a good team be able to overcome the weather?
And that's a fair challenge, but the distinction is between enduring the weather and weaponizing it.
Okay.
Every team deals with cold, but very few coaches publicly declare their intention to use it as a strategic element, targeting a specific physical weakness. Johnson isn't just acknowledging the cold, he's building his game plan around it. He knows the Rams' playbook is built on timing, precision throws, speed.
All things that get degraded exponentially faster in single-digit weather.
Exactly. Faster than the Bears' smash-mouth Midwest-style football.
And we have historical context for this. This approach is validated. Think about the legacy of cold weather dominance.
Lambeau Field.
For decades, the Packers leveraged the brutality of Lambeau in January against warm-weather teams. It created an almost insurmountable edge. Chicago, historically, hasn't always been able to claim that same consistent advantage.
But now with a team built on toughness and a coach with a clear psychological strategy, The full fury of the Chicago winter becomes the Bears' specific edge to exploit.
It creates a mental barrier that teams from the South or the West Coast, they just rarely overcome it because it requires this profound shift in mindset and physical prep that they just haven't rehearsed.
Stafford can talk all he wants on a radio show, but when he steps onto that frozen turf and the Bears' defense comes flying at him, fueled by the energy of Soldier Field and the inherent toughness of the Midwest,
The advantage shifts.
entirely, decisively, to the Bears. It is a brilliant, simple, yet devastating strategy by Ben Johnson. He's making the weather the Bears' 12th man. And that calculated strategic advantage is crucial. But it leads us directly to our second pillar, the necessity of roster resilience. Because the Bears run into the divisional round means they are now dealing with the inevitable consequence of late-season football.
Crushing injuries.
Crushing injuries. And right before this monumental game, the linebacker corps suffered a massive, a nearly catastrophic blow.
It was a true crisis of depth. And it all unfolded during that electric wildcard victory. First, we lose T.J. Edwards, one of the starting linebackers, a foundational piece of the defense.
Broken leg.
Broken leg. And you can't overstate his importance. The sources cite his Week 17 pick six, a play that changed the entire tenor of that game and just symbolized his playmaking ability.
Losing that kind of production, that kind of leadership, especially from an interior tone setter, it creates an immediate emotional and tactical void.
And the crisis was compounded because we were already without Noah Sewell, the starting strong-side linebacker.
Yeah.
That had been placed on IR around New Year's Eve.
So you're down two starters.
Two starting linebackers,
Oh.
key pieces of the defensive identity, suddenly out for the rest of the playoff run.
Right as you're facing a high-powered Rams offense that is designed to stretch linebackers, both in coverage and in the run game.
It creates a critical vacuum right in the middle of the defense.
Yeah.
And it challenges the very idea of sustainable playoff success.
And this is the moment. This is where a general manager earns his money. This is where Poles had to show that the organization is more resilient than the injuries it faces.
And this is where Ryan Poles' strategic genius, his masterclass in organizational culture, comes into play.
Right.
Instead of panicking, instead of grabbing some unknown free agent off the street, Poles makes this shrewd, deceptively simple move.
He signs Nephi Sewell to the practice squad.
And that move is about so much more than just getting a body in the building. It's about cultural engineering.
It's not about just filling a slot. It's about injecting immediate trust, familiarity, and a specific brand of professional toughness into a suddenly fractured position group during the most stressful part of the season.
Let's look at Nephi's specific statistical profile and value. Because while he's highly unlikely to be elevated for the Rams game unless absolute disaster strikes, his presence is foundational.
Okay.
He's a 4-year veteran. He's played in 30 career games, all with the Saints. That level of professional experience is crucial for preparation, for understanding game intensity, for simulating plays in practice.
30 games means he knows the rhythm of an NFL season. And critically, he knows how to prepare for the postseason environment. You don't want a rookie or some unseasoned player suddenly thrust into that high-stakes practice environment.
But here's the key metric, the data point that truly defines his value right now. The sources highlight that in his most significant year, 2023, Nephi logged a massive 266 special teams snaps.
Wow.
266.
266.
Right.
For the listener, we need to quickly clarify what that means. Special team snaps are the ultimate measure of willingness and physical reliability.
It means you're a grinder. You're a grinder. In the playoffs, where the margin of victory is razor thin and field position is everything, a core special teamer like Nephi provides an experienced safety net who understands all the nuances of situational football coverage, blocking, disciplined play.
That kind of statistical reliability provides immediate cultural scaffolding. He's not coming in to learn the depth chart. He's coming in to establish a standard of toughness and discipline in the third phase of the game.
Which is often the deciding factor in these tight playoff contests.
Exactly.
And this leads us to the heart of the cultural analysis, the Sewell family business.
I love this part.
Nephi is Noah's older brother. That lineage immediately brings a family connection, a shared understanding of professional NFL culture that resonates deeply in that locker room. Poles is prioritizing a familiar, trusted presence who embodies the toughness you need to win in January.
It's an emotional uplift as much as it is a depth signing. When a team faces adversity, bringing in a familiar face, a brother, it reinforces the idea that the locker room is a family. You're stabilizing the position group, not just with talent, but with loyalty and shared history.
And we have to briefly acknowledge the depth of this Sewell dynasty,
Yeah,
because it speaks to the DNA that Poles is investing in.
it's incredible.
This is not just some casual football family.
Mhm.
You have all-pro right tackle Penei Sewell, one of the most dominant offensive linemen in the league, with the Lions.
Yeah.
The lineage extends to Kingsley Sewell-Mataya on the Chiefs, and previously to uncles like Richard Brown and Isaac Sopoaga. This family literally breathes toughness and professional football preparation.
And Poles is buying into that DNA right when the team needs it most.
That DNA is essential for reinforcing the next man up mentality.
Yeah.
The team needs to see that the organization is resilient, that it has covered every single base. And Poles didn't stop with just the practice squad signing. The move was paired with the elevation of Jalen Reeves-Maybin, a legitimate 2023 Pro Bowl special teamer, from the practice squad to the 53-man roster for immediate depth.
So let's just synthesize that maneuver for a second.
Yeah, let's.
Nephi comes in to manage the long-term depth, inject culture, and provide an experienced emergency option. Meanwhile, Reeves-Maybin provides instant, proven, active roster special teams depth and experience.
That's the definition of managing the short-term crisis, getting proven special teams talent on the active roster for Sunday, while simultaneously thinking long-term about cultural sustainability and emergency depth. It's a hallmark of elite general management.
It really is.
But let's be real here. While Nephi and Reeves-Maybin shore up the depth chart, the actual load has to fall on the star, Tremaine Edmonds and DeMarco Jackson. So how much can a depth move truly matter if the two main guys falter?
That's the critical pushback. And you're right, the depth move doesn't win the game on its own. It ensures the infrastructure doesn't collapse if there's another injury. The two main guys, Edmonds and Jackson, they absolutely must dominate the middle of the field. However, that next man up mentality, which is essential for an improbable playoff run like this, is validated by what Poles did. It sends a powerful message to Edmonds and Jackson. We got you. We have strategic, experienced, and familiar options behind you.
It proves the organization is demonstrating this profound strategic resilience under immense pressure. They're not panicking. They're strategically deploying experience and family connections.
And that peace of mind, just knowing your organization is covering every base, that's invaluable in the locker room right now. If things get desperate deeper in this run, the 4-year veteran Nephi can step in for emergency snaps. This entire episode just shows Poles is building a cultural infrastructure that is resistant to catastrophe.
So we've covered the immediate strategic environment, the weather warfare, and the roster resilience needed to survive the crisis, the Sewell family business.
Yeah.
Now, let's pivot hard to the future, because the long-term sustainability of this championship window, the ability to keep competing 3, 5, 7 years from now, depends entirely on fixing one massive, foundational, and frankly glaring hole in this organization.
You can draft the best quarterback in the world, you can develop an elite receiving core, but if you cannot control the line of scrimmage, both offensively and defensively, you will be perpetually capped as a contender.
That's it.
You will never win a championship if opposing teams can simply run the ball down your throat.
Precisely. Let's identify the Bears' most urgent, critical need for sustained championship contention: stopping the run. The defensive reality has been brutal all season, and the statistics are damning proof.
Let's hear them.
The Bears rank 27th in the entire league in rushing yards allowed per game. Even worse, they're 29th in yards allowed per attempt.
Oof.
That's not just a weakness. That is a foundational failure for a franchise that defines itself by defensive toughness.
And that consistent failure to stop the run is the primary culprit in compromising the entire defensive scheme. It allows offenses to dictate pace, it sets up devastating play-action passes,
Forces the linebackers and safeties to constantly creep closer to the line.
and it puts the defense in disastrous, difficult-to-convert third-down situations over and over again. Until you fix the run defense, every other defensive piece, the edge rushers, the coverage linebackers, the secondary is handicapped.
And we have the advanced metric proof, too. Pro Football Focus, or PFF, the organization that tracks these advanced metrics, grading players based on detailed film analysis and efficiency, has confirmed this crisis.
What do the grades say?
Every single Bears defensive tackle this year has a PFF grade of 60.0 or worse.
Every single one.
Every single one. 60 or worse. That is unacceptable performance for the anchor of your defense. You simply cannot expect sustained success with that level of foundational weakness in the middle of your defensive line.
It's a gaping wound, and smart teams will exploit that vulnerability weekly.
And this leads us to the latest Pro Football Focus mock draft projection. It has the Bears selecting Caden McDonald, the massive defensive tackle out of Ohio State, at pick 25. Now that they're in the divisional round, 25 is the highest selection possible. If they can land McDonald there, well, this is where the long-term vision becomes exceptionally clear.
It's not just clear. It's the exact surgical solution to the catastrophic problem you just quantified with those sub-60 PFF grades.
He is the antidote. Let's talk about McDonald's elite run-stopping data, because the metrics are just stunning. His PFF run defense grade is a jaw-dropping, 91.2.
91.2.
91.2. To put that in perspective for you, that grade doesn't just lead the defensive tackle class. It leads all interior defenders in this entire draft class.
Wow.
Furthermore, his overall grade of 86.5 leads all interior linemen from the Power 4 conferences. The claim is simple, unequivocal, and backed by the best analytics available. He is the best pure run stopper in the entire 2025 draft class.
That level of run-stopping dominance is absolutely transformative. When you secure a player who can control the line of scrimmage with that kind of consistent efficiency, he doesn't just make tackles. He occupies blockers, he prevents lateral movement, and he funnels running backs into the waiting arms of your second-level players.
He's the anchor.
He is the foundational anchor that unlocks everyone else's potential.
Now, we have to address the concerns honestly. No prospect is flawless. McDonald is not a pure interior pass rusher.
That's the knock on him, right?
It is. His pass rush stats are low, only 10 total pressures and 2 sacks all season. So if Poles is looking for that quick, explosive interior disruptor who lives in the backfield on third down, McDonald is not that guy.
But you have to analyze the organizational priority. The run defense is currently 29th in the league. That is the crisis.
Right.
That is the non-negotiable weakness. Pass rush, while it's always important, can be mitigated and supplemented. We've seen flashes of potential from Austin Booker on the edge. The sources indicate the edge rushing class on day 2 is deep and talented.
So you can wait.
You can wait for an explosive rusher later. But you cannot wait to fix a run defense that is hemorrhaging yardage every single week. McDonald is the immediate, non-negotiable antidote to the single biggest weakness of this entire team's foundation.
So the immediate, dire need for foundational run stopping outweighs the long-term luxury of an interior pass rusher. That's the strategic calculus.
And let's detail the transformative impact for you by explaining what he actually does on the field. McDonald is physically imposing. 6'3", 326 pounds.
A big man.
A big man. He uses that size combined with surprising first-step quickness and excellent hand usage to anchor and control the point of attack. Crucially, he is versatile enough to play both one-gap and two-gap schemes.
Okay, let's pause there. Let's define those concepts. What is the difference, and why does his versatility matter so much?
So in a one-gap scheme, the defensive tackle is responsible for one specific gap. That's the space between the offensive linemen. He's focused on penetrating, disrupting, getting upfield.
Okay, attacking.
It's attacking. In a two-gap scheme, which is often favored in more traditional smash-mouth defenses, the defensive tackle has to control the two gaps on either side of him. That means he has to engage, hold his ground, read the flow of the running back, and then disengage to make the tackle.
So one gap is penetration, two gap is anchoring and reading.
Precisely. And McDonald's ability to play both means he's not scheme-dependent. He can execute whatever the defensive coordinator demands, controlling the line of scrimmage with consistent force. He is a natural space eater, a massive anchor who excels at forcing interior offensive linemen backward.
And that anchoring, that's the magic trick.
Yeah.
He eats up blockers.
Yes.
When McDonald occupies two linemen on a running play, suddenly Tremaine Edmonds and the remaining linebackers, even to Marco Jackson and the depth players, they're running clean to the ball.
They're unblocked.
Edge rushers, whether it's Booker or a day 2 pick, are able to get cleaner paths to the quarterback because the interior pressure is anchored.
And critically, your safeties can finally play aggressive downhill football. They can trust the front line to hold its ground and stop the immediate threat. This is the first necessary step to turning the defense into a true nightmare unit that can actually match the potential of the offense.
Because the offense is special. Caleb Williams is progressing, Colston Loveland is emerging as a top tight end, Luther Burden III is flashing Justin Jefferson-level potential, and Kyle Monangai looks like a late-round steal.
The trajectory of the offense is championship level.
So McDonald is the foundational piece needed to synchronize the defense with that offensive trajectory.
But hosts, we have to strategically justify Pohl's vision against the perception that the team might need a left tackle. That is always a top 5 position of need for any franchise.
It is, and fans will rightly question passing on a top tackle prospect at 25. But I argue that it is fundamentally easier to scheme protection for an average left tackle, using chips from the tight end, sliding the line, using quicker play calls, than it is to scheme a run defense that is 29th in the league without the right personnel up front. You can hide a tackle. You cannot hide a defensive line that is getting mauled play after play.
That's the strategic high ground. You fix the trenches first. You build toughness and control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Poles understands that building a sustainable contender means being physically dominant up front no matter what.
So what does this all mean? It means Ryan Poles, while managing an improbable high-stress playoff run, is laser-focused on the long game. He is looking at the numbers, that 91.2 PFF run grade against his current D-tackle sub-60 grades, and making the calculated, analytically sound decision that fixing the run defense is the critical priority that unlocks the potential of the entire defensive unit for the next decade.
It's a foundational move.
Landing the best run stopper in the draft at pick 25 isn't just a win, it is an acceleration of the entire rebuild timeline.
And this move guarantees that Chicago is building a physical, intimidating defense that matches the city's identity. So if we synthesize these 3 elements, the calculated weather warfare against the Rams, the immediate roster resilience shown by the Sewell signing, and the long-term vision embodied by Caden McDonald, we see a single, consistent thread running through the entire organization.
What is it?
A commitment to toughness, preparedness, and foresight.
Ben Johnson's masterful psychological prep leverages Soldier Field itself as the ultimate defender, right? Specifically targeting the known physical limitations imposed by the single-digit temperatures on Stafford's compromised throwing hand. Then Pohl's shrewd handling of the T.J. Edwards injury crisis by bringing in the Sewell family business demonstrates this team will not be broken by adversity. They're going to cover every base, even on special teams, with veteran experience and cultural resonance.
And that imminent defensive transformation through Caden McDonald shows that Poles isn't just prepared to win now. He is building a defense capable of winning championships 3, 5, 7 years from now by fixing the critical foundational weakness in the trenches.
Prioritizing a run-stopping anchor over flashier yet less urgent needs.
Exactly.
The Rams are not just playing an opponent this Sunday. They are playing the harsh, unforgiving spirit of Chicago in January. They are playing a team that has already made the decision to embrace that discomfort and turn the environment into a calculated advantage.
And that is the core truth of Midwest football in the playoffs. Toughness and acclimation win. The Rams can try to adjust, they can try to talk themselves out of the cold, but when that single-digit wind chill is seizing up their hands and the Bears' defense knows exactly how to exploit that physical weakness, the mental advantage becomes overwhelming.
I think the final provocative thought here for every Bears fan relates back to that draft pick. You might feel a sting that every single playoff victory pushes us down the board. Moving the selection from, say, pick 15 to pick 25, you might feel like you're losing a high pick.
But here's the perspective you have to hold on to. Every single win, every advancement in this tournament proves the organization's trajectory is far more valuable than any single draft spot.
What do you mean?
You're gaining invaluable experience. You're solidifying a winning culture, validating the coaching staff, and building a momentum that far, far outweighs moving down 10 spots in the draft.
And if you can still land an elite, program-changing talent, the best run stopper in the entire class, according to the advanced metrics like Caden McDonald at pick 25,
Well then,
that's not losing draft value. That is winning on every possible level. Immediate success, cultural resilience, and foundational future dominance. We are witnessing the foundation of a dynasty being laid right now in the midst of this playoff run.
Chicago is back, and the blueprint shows we are not going anywhere.